daily newsletter. Be informed, be empowered.
The legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe and 92.3 FM K222CX.
Come on. All right. Y'all stay with me. I'm sorry. My intro decided to get all goobered up, and I need that thing working today. Let's try it again. All right. Come on, Amber. I'm going to fire you. Come on. Come on. Come on.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers, who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff.
Man, I ain't started how you finish, man. Run through the tape.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on. Come on, Dallas Cowboys. Come on.
When you walk out on that field today, ask yourself this question.
What time is it? Game time! What time
is it? 10-4-1 going into the night.
Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready!
I am never betting on Atlanta again.
Say it again.
I'm never betting on Atlanta again.
You and Hugh Douglas.
Jeez, I can't. The Bears? The Bears is what they were to be. The Bears, man.
What Reggie Bush said? Reggie Bush said, I said what I said.
It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it?
And this is Saints versus Lions week, so I'm wearing my Lions cap today because they won yesterday for the first time in almost a year. 12 straight losses for the Lions. And now they play the Saints this weekend. It's gonna be something. Both of them 1-2.
Yeah. The bottom line is you got.
I don't even know where to go with that. I don't even think I know where to go with that.
I'm a man divided. You saw that picture I put on Twitter yesterday? Me and my little brother back in the day.
You ought to make the big money. He's a man.
I felt sorry. I wish I could have got y'all a 1-800 help number.
Yeah. I got cursed.
This is what it feels like.
I see I'm the only Lions fan left. My dad don't root for the Lions. My brother, sister, Saints fans.
Everybody in your family smart, bro.
But none of them were born in Detroit, so this is my blood, you know. And I'm like, I'm always the contrarian anyway, which is a surprise, huh?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I can't imagine that. Stand by, David.
It's a wrap. Game over.
Now, this game is not over. In fact, it's just getting started right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It's Media Monday, and I got to tell you, man, I really had a great time with the world of sports this weekend. Had a great time with the world of sports this weekend. Let me start off with the least of these. Can we start off with the least of these? Astros should not be allowed to be in the playoffs after getting swept. You shouldn't. It just should. Even if you mathematically have a chance to get in that way, there ought to be some rule that you got to go wait in the corner, let everybody start, and then you get to play. Because it's just not right. It's just not right. They beat nobody in the last 3 games, and they got a playoff game tomorrow. And they needed a win to get in. I'm just saying. I'm venting. If the Astros lose, I'm chewing them up because it means that they couldn't win unless they cheated. So that's on the other side. The Rockets didn't play this weekend, so they didn't lose. Go Rockets. But them Texans, them Texans, those Bill O'Brien, you are the man. My new favorite coach in the NFL is Bill Aloysius O'Brien. It is Billy Aloysius O'Brien. That dude said we better without DeAndre Hopkins. We're better without Jadeveon Clowney. We're better without DJ Reader. We're better without Tyrann Mathieu. We're better without Kareem Jackson. We're better without everybody. Everybody we let go, we're better without them. They just forgot to tell the other teams that. So they're 0-3, bro.
Yeah, I don't know that life. I don't know what 0-3 is like.
They're 0-3 for not the first time in Bill O'Brien's career, but I think this is the second time. And I had somebody who promised me that they had not been drinking. They said, I have not had an ounce of alcohol. He said, I didn't even put rubbing alcohol on my elbow. He told me that the Texans were going to win 9 straight starting this weekend.
No.
That's what he told me. What a straight face,
You saw the schedule, right?
I'm going to it as we speak. I'm running by there real quick, David.
Okay.
David, I saw a big G in the middle of the schedule, and that big G was playing last night, and they don't look like they're gonna lose to the Texans. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So wait a minute. Let me look. So the Texans have the Vikings next Sunday here in Houston at 12 o'clock. Didn't the Vikings win yesterday?
No.
They didn't win?
Oh,
that's right. Kirk Cousins. You like that? Yeah. Yeah. He had them in position. Well, let me just say this. They were in position to win. I'm not going to say he had them there.
He did a typical Kirk Cousins thing. He did his Kirk Cousins thing. That's what he is. So, I mean, you definitely got a chance against the Vikings.
Hold on. Let me tell you what this Texan team can't do. They cannot stop the run.
Dalvin Cook.
Is Dalvin Cook, did he get hurt? I heard that he had a little something. No,
I think he's good.
He ran for like 183, 184. He ran all day.
Yeah, I mean, look, that outside with Justin Jefferson, who can fly, Adam Thielen, who can fly, and then they've got good tight ends. So, I mean, Minnesota, as long as Kirk Cousins is not throwing the ball to the other team,
which he does,
or if he's scared to take a chance, that's his other problem, is that he gets scared. Then it's going to be real hard for the Texans to stop Minnesota. Now, so that means you're in a shootout. So can you put up 27?
No, they haven't done it this year. In fact, they scored more points yesterday than they have all year long. In fact, the last time the Texans scored over 30 was against Kansas City in the AFC divisional round. Before that was week 6 against Kansas City in the regular season.
So you get the rankings? Do you know the rankings this year?
No, I don't know the rankings.
Let's just compare. Like you said, better from last year to this year, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
So last year, this was a team that was ranked. They went 2 years ago, 11th in offense. Last year, 14th in points. This year, 28th in points.
28th?
You dropped from 14 to 28th in points so far.
You're twice as worse as you were last year.
Offensive yardage from 13 to 28.
You're more than twice as worse than you were last year.
Defense has gone from 19th in points allowed to 29th.
We got a new defensive coordinator.
So it went from yards. The only thing they're better in is yards allowed, but you're giving up way more points. You don't have to give up as many yards because teams are holding on to the ball. They're able to grind it down your throat. They're able to do something with every possession. So they're scoring, but they don't have to have as many possessions. So
ran less than 50 plays in the game yesterday. Like the defense took a vacation for.
Joe Burrow threw 50 passes yesterday. Joe Burrow threw 50 passes yesterday. And Texas can't run 50 plays? Okay.
But Bill O'Brien says this team is better without all those pieces that he, the GM, decided were no longer necessary.
Yeah, we're okay. The point differential in 3 games is negative 38. That means you are losing by nearly 13 points a game. That's 2 touchdowns. That is not even close to being in the vicinity of other teams. 2 scores is a lot in the NFL for a margin of loss. You talk about games that are on average 3 6-point spreads this weekend, and you averaging 13 points as your loss.
David. The Texans have this reverse psychology thing going on. They want to give folks that 0-3 head start and be like, now, go. And here they come.
Okay, what are the Titans? 3-0. What are the Colts?
2-1,
Okay. What's Jacksonville?
1-2.
So everybody got more wins than you.
Oh.
Everybody.
Well, if you look at it like that, I mean, if you put it in those terms, yeah, it looks bad. But I mean, if you count the actual wins that other teams have compared to what the Texans have,
Like, why are we talking about records? Why are we talking about unimportant stuff like records?
You know what I mean? You got a point when you look at it like that, but that ain't how we're gonna look at it. Here we go. The Texans have Minnesota Sunday. They can beat them. That's one.
They could.
They got Jacksonville the week after that. That's 2. They got to go to Tennessee.
That ain't gonna happen.
Okay, so right there, they're 2-4. They're 2.
That's what you supposing some 2-4 right there. Because even Jacksonville, at the very least, they're not losing because of Gardner Minshew at this point.
Yeah, they have no talent, and
they're a team that played. They beat the Colts.
Right.
They were within 3 of the Titans.
Yeah.
So they didn't lay an egg until Thursday Night Football, which is always a weird.
You can throw that one out typically. But
let's see what they do against the Bengals. If they win against the Bengals and are 2-2, and you got to go play them, you get them. Even if you get them at home, if they're 2-2, at least they have confidence. If the Texans, I think, are disintegrating internally, because if your head coach is out there lying and saying we're better than we were last year, the players are not stupid. They're looking around that locker room and be like, that dude ain't better than who we had, and that guy ain't better than who we had.
David, lying is a strong word. It's a very strong word. He's got alternative facts. He's got a different perspective of the truth. He's got other words that mean other things different than the truth. And, that's the new thing.
How do we measure better? What is it? What is better? Better typically, as we judge things, is greater production or higher quality. And if everything has gone backwards, if everything is worse, your record, your production,
wait. Hold that thought. I got to hit this commercial. I got to do this one. We'll be right back with better.
This is Oral G. Robinson. When people say my vote doesn't matter, when you don't vote, your vote counts against you.
Oh, God.
The other side gets a vote. If you want to fix the system and reform your local police department to make it more accountable, you need to vote.
The only team you appoint to the Texans are the New York Jets and the Denver Broncos.
You need to vote. If you want more
and
money,
both of them have better defenses.
If Black Lives Matter to you, you need to vote. Early voting begins on October 13th and ends on October 30th.
You know what Bill O'Brien ranks on the coaches to get fired odds now?
You need to vote. If you don't vote,
he's rising up that list, bro.
He's tied now 5th. Reese is 1, Dan Quinn is 2, Matt Patricia number 3, Marone in Jacksonville. I don't understand why Marone would be on a less hot seat than O'Brien, which I guess it's because O'Brien's relationship with the owner and him having 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Zimmer is up to plus 700. Then it's Anthony Lynn and Bill O'Brien tied at plus 9.
Detected low levels of a probable cancer-causing chemical known
All
as MDMA in Zantac and other generic forms of this popular drug.
In the middle
They
of the season.
banned sales
They just
and
don't
even
do it.
removed it from
I
the
don't think you
market.
can fire your coach and your general manager in the middle of the season. You can't, because you have to fire him from both jobs. You can't let him keep one. So if you're going to fire him, all of them got to go.
Have your medical
I'd like to
expenses
try to be
covered.
the first.
And there's no
I'd
upfront
like to
cost
give it a
you.
shot, see
They
what it
only get
does.
paid if you win.
Oh,
So
look, I'm sure the organization, it'll be like the end of the Wiz, and they'll be like, can you feel a brand new day?
816. That's 800.
Stand by,
That's what it's
man.
going to be.
7816.
Lunch break with AJ Jones.
You see all the Texans ripping off their clothes?
92.3 FM.
Can you?
All right, y'all. We're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones, and it is our Media Monday. I'm glad to have David Grubb, host of Hard in the Paint, on the show with us. And David, I'm sorry. I just jumped right in on the magnanimous success of these Houston Texans, where they are literally setting the league on fire under the complete direction of the best general manager in the league, bar none. Don't even try to mention somebody else's name. And the best head coach in the league, bar none. I don't want to hear about anybody else named Bill. And the best de facto offensive coordinator in the league, bar none. I don't want to hear about Sean McVay or Eric Bieniemy or anybody like that. So that aside, how was your weekend? How was your shows? What's going on with Hard in the Paint? What are you working on with CrescentCitySports.com? You said we wanted to talk about what better is. That's better. Tell us about that, because that's better than what we're talking about.
Awesome. Well, some good news. Top the 5,000 mark in listens. So we're up over 5,100 now. So it was a very solid weekend with that. And then one of the articles I wrote for SB Nation on David Griffin's first year with the New Orleans Pelicans was picked as one of the best of the week for SB Nation. And I got another one coming out.
A little bit about that you were going to write that. So that one already has gotten picked as one of the best in the nation.
Mm-hmm. And today I got another one coming out this evening on inexpensive free agent options for the Pelicans to add to the roster. So there's some interesting stuff in there. I just got off of an interview and I just posted my latest pod this morning with Rob Parker from Fox Sports 1. And we talked about the Major League Baseball playoffs. So that was really a good conversation there.
You already know I hate that one. You already know I just absolutely hate it. Until I find out why Rob Parker has blocked me, of all people. I want to love your work. I can't.
So that went well. And then I'll be talking later today with Marlon Favorite, who his favorite team is the Dallas Cowboys, even though he won a Super Bowl with the Saints. Yeah. And he's also a former LSU lineman. So we're going to talk about LSU's collapse against Mississippi State, which I predicted. And yeah, because that line, they gave LSU a 17.5 point favorite. When they're starting a new quarterback and they missed the top two receivers and the offensive line was different and you replaced all those starters, I didn't believe for a chance. And you know Mike Leach. If anything, if you know Mike Leach, you knew he was going to fling the ball, and they throw for 600 yards.
Yeah. I felt like LSU lost so much, especially when you lost your offensive coordinator, your quarterback's coach, who,
the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I just felt like you lost a lot, but I thought y'all could get past them.
See, this is why those early season little, blowout games. Yeah. That's when you have a brand new quarterback in Miles Brennan, a guy who, in my mind, is not as talented as people want to talk about, because he's been in Baton Rouge for 4 years. He couldn't beat out Danny Etling. Yeah. Who is now playing tight end in the NFL. Yep. He couldn't beat out Joe Burrow his first year when Burrow was not on the radar.
Very great.
So he's only getting the job because he's been around the longest. The guys behind him are freshmen. So, I mean, I was never impressed with Miles Brennan. And you give him his first start against a team that has something to prove. Mike Leach, this is what he lives for, no matter what you think about him as a person. At the very least, he's coming for you offensively, that he's going to try to do everything to exploit what you don't do well. And he's not going to change. He's going to put the pressure on you for all of those minutes, for 60 minutes. And he did that to LSU. Then they turned. LSU won the turnover battle 4-2 and lost that game. You can't give up 600 yards at home against anybody. Anybody, let alone a team that's considered a bottom feeder in Mississippi State that's trying to rebuild. So there's a lot more going on in Baton Rouge than just the offense. That defense has to get better real fast. And Bo Pelini, who has been under criticism, his last couple years when he was at Youngstown State.
Right.
We'll see if I don't know, have things passed him by. We'll see. But I think this LSU team is probably going to lose 4 games, because I don't think they're better than Alabama. I don't think that they're better than Florida, and I don't think that they're good enough to not slip up against maybe an Auburn, who has a very good team. So they are what they are. But that'll be another great conversation. And then tomorrow I'm having Natalie Weiner on, and we're going to discuss the WNBA playoffs and the coverage of the WNBA, which has been a big problem.
Yeah. I got to tell you, it dropped off majorly. It really did. It didn't start off on fire, but at least, it was right there with everything else. And then it's like all of a sudden, where are the games? What's going on? And they're in their they're about to start their finals. Am I right?
I mean, it's great basketball. I changed away from football on Sunday to watch WNBA basketball because the games were really intense. And it's just that I don't understand why that the league put these games up against football or put them at the same time as NBA games. No, you even if you had to go a little bit earlier, like start a half hour earlier, at least get somebody a chance to watch the first half before they go over to the NBA. I wish they would have done that. But in general, the fact that reporting has gotten so lazy across all the sports. And I mean, we could get into this in a minute, but you saw my Twitter diatribe yesterday about this whole thing of framing everything LeBron does as if he's the only person to do these things. That is lazy. And people were coming after me and saying, well, you're a hater. I'm not a hater on LeBron. What I'm doing is criticizing the media, particularly when a Rachel Nichols walks up to the Miami Heat after they just won the Eastern Conference Championship for the first time since LeBron left. They rebuild this team, and the first question you're going to ask that man as he's holding his trophy, Eric Spoelstra, is how does it feel to be playing up against LeBron? And then you run a montage of video of LeBron James playing for the Miami Heat over top of these people's celebration in their moment? That is terrible. ESPN messed up on that. You stop making everything LeBron-centric. And I'm tired of them using Kobe, too, and his death and acting like it's pushing the Lakers forward. Everybody was impacted by Kobe Bryant's death. Kobe's not playing. This isn't the sixth man. He's not tipping baskets away so that the Lakers can win. The Lakers won their games. That's fine and dandy. If they win the championship, cool too. But stop using these fake storylines about how LeBron has done this. Like I said, there are five major stars in the NBA who have as many finals appearances as LeBron and more than 27 other teams, more championships than 27 other teams. It's not just LeBron. And we need to stop doing that because I think that hurts the way people feel about basketball. They think it's too narrative driven and not enough just let the game speak for itself.
And that's what it used to do. They used to say NBA playoff action is fantastic. The focus was on the play and not, like you said, those different storylines. We'll be right back. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back with David Grubb right after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM.
Now is a great time to replace your worn-out windows during the Renewal by Andersen 25-year savings event. Upgrade your home today. Buy 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Plus, get 12 months with no interest, no money down, and no payments. Call now. Get 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Installation and warranty included. Renewal by Andersen takes every CDC-recommended safety precaution to protect your family. For 25 years, people have trusted us for their window replacement needs, and you can too. Call now to learn about our buy 4, get the 5th one free window replacement offer.
800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Interest accrues from date of purchase, but is waived if paid in full within 12 months. Other conditions apply. We've adjusted our operations to serve you safely following all CDC guidelines. Visit renewalbyandersen.com for details.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-961-2730. 800-961-2730. That's 800-961-2730.
My name is Devon McDonald from Jamaica. Play with Indianapolis Colts. And listen, you listen to the lunch break.
All right, y'all. We're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is our Media Monday, and I got the man with the plan. It is David Grubb, host of Heart in the Paint and CrescentCitySports.com. And David, again, we were talking about the Texans. We'll come back to them. Let's finish this discussion about the NBA. Let's talk about the games. Lakers did what they needed to do to close out a very, very good Denver Nugget team. And three names, well, I'll say four names that really stand out for me. Of course, the usual suspects, LeBron, usual suspects, Anthony Davis. But the two other players that, man, when I tell you without them, we're not having this discussion, Dwight Howard and Rajon Rondo. And I literally said, anyone who said Rajon Rondo was washed, repent, because the dude
in the regular season he is awful. In the regular season he's awful for 82 games, awful. And then in the playoffs,
let me tell you why I bring this up, because in Houston we have just the opposite. We have guys and a team that blow it out during the regular season and have you all amped up, but then they get in the playoffs and they look like, I hate to say it because I love his mama and his sister and them, JaVale McGee. But when you got a Rajon Rondo who God only knows what he's still working on, trying to play some defense, pushing the tempo on offense, doing what he does well, making other guys better. And oh yeah, by the way, say what you want to say. The dude stepped up and knocked down some really good shots. Mm-hmm. And Dwight Howard, when he was not trying to play the mental game, but was using his size and his ability, he was a problem. He got Nurkic in trouble in the last. He got Joker in trouble the last game when it counted, and then of course they had the situation with Murray getting hurt. But I'm saying the Lakers did what they needed to do. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you had to have other guys step up, and Dwight Howard's activity was huge, especially because in the last three games, Anthony Davis was a non-factor on the boards.
On the boards, right?
Like, he didn't do anything. I think he totaled 6 or 7 rebounds in the last 3 games. That's impossibly bad. So Dwight was vital in giving them extra possessions. And that's what the Lakers really started those games that were close and closing them out. It was because the Nuggets could not close out possessions. And the Lakers were able to get secure rebounds and get an extra shot here and then. Because the Lakers aren't a great shooting team.
No,
they're not a great shooting team. They're not a great drip. They're not a great ball handling team.
Yep.
They do two things really well. They defend the ball and they rebound their behinds off. Everything else is kind of like dependent on, can LeBron get everybody else going? Can Rondo step up tonight and hit a shot? Will Danny Green do something? It's like that. I told somebody this and they got mad at me. I said, if the Lakers win the title, that's cool and all, but this would be the worst Lakers title team in their history. You look at them top to bottom roster wise.
Yeah.
Name a worse Lakers team that has a championship. If they win it, it's fine. And Lakers fans, it shows you the shift in Lakers fans.
Yeah.
It shows you that they used to be the snobs of the NBA.
Right.
And now they are willing to take anything. They are turning these saltines into Ritz. You know what I mean? Like, this is, you win a championship in the bubble. This is the same team that when Phil Jackson, when the Spurs won the 50 games season and won the championship, Phil said, put asterisks on, don't really count.
Mm-hmm.
Now that same franchise is talking about, well, this counts. This one is real. Winning in the bubble is the most difficult thing anybody's ever done. Well, historically, when people look back on this, they're going to say you had one of the easiest paths ever to the finals. You beat a sub 500 Portland team. You beat a Rockets team that was crumbling by the time you got to it, and you beat an inexperienced Nuggets team. Take nothing away from the Nuggets, they got there. But if you look at it, it's not going to go down as one of the historic runs to the finals ever. It's just not. It's a good run. They are doing what they're supposed to do. But I don't think Miami looks at this series and says, man, what are we going to do with the Lakers?
No, not at all. And I agree with you. Let's jump over to the East now. And, Todd has jumped on, and I was trying to be as respectful to Todd. And I think you were a Brad Stevens apologist too.
I didn't say I'm not an apologist. Dang, all I said is the man is a good coach.
Okay,
I didn't say he was a great coach. I said he's a good coach.
I thought, let me run the tape back. I think there was a great in there. And I said, if I remember correctly,
I said he's one of the top, he's in the top, but he's not above Nick Nurse. He's not above, not above the guy in my Spoelstra. He's not above a lot of those guys. But he's, for a guy in that where he is, Boston has some roster things that they need to do. Boston definitely has some roster things.
Before we get to the front office, where Danny Ainge, is one of the best. I'll give him that credit. I was respectful to Todd. I'm definitely going to be respectful to you. In my humble opinion, not trying to be a sports know-it-all, going down that stretch in last night's game, I felt like Stevens needed to call a timeout and settle his team down and remind them we need buckets and stops. We don't need you to just jacking up threes and that kind of thing. And he didn't do it. He let that run get out of control, and then there's nothing you can do but jack up threes. And that, for me, right or wrong, was reminiscent of the Eastern Conference Final when Cleveland pulled away when they were just jacking up threes. And it's like, dude, a 30-second timeout and say, yo, guys, buckets and stops. Stop with the threes. We'll take them if they're there, but don't force them if they're not. And then, settle your young team down. And that's where I don't see Brad Stevens making those kind of necessary adjustments or just simply saying, y'all breathe. Okay.
Yeah, that was a big mistake at some point. And it's very much reminiscent of how our critique of the Rockets is that sometimes you just you can't get it back in 2 shots, 3 shots.
Right.
You can't settle your game. And quite frankly, threes are not going to settle you down anyway. They are not things that make you emotionally, they don't give you that equilibrium. For shooters, yes. But the Celtics guys are not what you would call shooters. They are scorers.
Right.
Who can shoot. But they are scorers. And to me, the way you get a scorer going is layup, dunk, free throw. Those are the things that give you a rhythm and they slow the game down.
Right.
I hit this jumper or I got this layup. It allows us to get back in defense. It allows us to remember that our situation. But when you shoot and that long rebound comes off, and now Miami's going in the other direction, you're in scramble. And if your mind is in scramble, especially when you have, like we talked about, a team with 9 guys with 3 years or less experience, when you put those guys to scramble against a veteran team in Miami and a coach Spoelstra who is never going to panic, then I think that was a big mistake. And that's why they need some more veterans on that team. You cannot be run just by kids. No team can run just kids.
Yeah, because I didn't say that to Todd, but after I was write my report for this morning, just an injection of veteran leadership. When you look at the fact that Udonis Haslem ain't played a minute. But there were times during timeouts when Udonis was doing the one, calming the guys down and saying, hey, guys, remember who we are. Remember what we do well. Telling the young guy, hey, man, it ain't falling, but do this. And you saw some benefit from that. You got to have somebody who can provide that calm, quiet voice of reason, or even if it's loud, but you respect that veteran because they've been there. I didn't see that in Boston, and I don't know what kind of condition Malcolm Brown was in that moment. What's his name? Not Malcolm Brown.
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown. Yeah, I'm thinking about the football player. I don't know what condition because I know he had hurt himself. But Brown and not Kemba. My other small Tatum. They were unstoppable. If you drive and use your ability, you might get an old-fashioned 3. You might get a bucket, which is what we need right now. More good things can happen than not by you putting pressure on that defense. And, you're going to wear them out on this end so they can't just go down and click on that end. And that's what they allowed Miami to do, get in a rhythm at the least opportune time by being one and done on the shots.
And as good as Bam Adebayo is, you cannot allow somebody who's a rim protector to just do that.
Right.
You have to make him move. You have to create screens off ball. You have to have guys who can move away from him and create situations where you are getting him out of the painted area. Yep. And he was able to hang around the paint so much defensively. So if you're going to drive, and we know both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can finish at the rim. And I know, we had Bam's big old block, and we know how good he is. But you have to go through a shot blocker eventually. Right. That's the only way to do it, is put your body in his chest, eliminate the space between you, because that's what a shot blocker needs, is that just enough space that I can get you. Now, they don't want to retreat. Right. But if you as a defender get right in their chest, it's impossible. As somebody who grew up as a shot blocker, that was my job. You don't want people in your chest because you're going to foul.
Yeah. Stay right there, Dave. We got a couple of callers. Okay, hold, please. All right, we got a couple of callers. Let's get them in. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this? Oh, they hung up. Let me go to the next one. Get off. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this?
Todd.
Hey, Todd, I figured you were going to be calling. What's going on, bro?
So I want to ask you guys a question. I have two questions. One about the Celtics, and then a college football question.
Okay, go ahead.
So let's do the Celtics first. So, right, I think David brought up a good point. They need some veterans around those young guys like Marcus Smart, Tatum, and Brown. But I want to ask you how big of a loss you thought losing Al Horford was. Because Al Horford was, I thought, kind of potentially, a steady presence, guy been in the league over 10 years, rim protector. How much losing him, and I know the reason they didn't pay him because they were trying to save money for Tatum and Brown, but how big of a loss do you think that was for them?
David, you go first, but
as a player, huge. Because that was their weakness. That's the reason Jason Tatum's playing the 4, is because you couldn't have Horford at the 5 and move Tice to the 4 and be a little bit bigger at times. And you saw having to have Robert Williams as a rookie play big minutes because you didn't have the depth up front. So, if you have 25 to 32 minutes of Al Horford every night, he's going to play solid team defense. He can hit an outside shot. He's an exceptional passer for a big man. He's not going to turn it over. And like you said, that emotional maturity of being a guy who's played deep into the playoffs before and has been an all-star, all those things, they needed that presence. Because I think Al Horford, as much as we like seeing the emotion of Marcus Smart, Al Horford doesn't let that spill out of the locker room. You might let him yell in the locker room, and that's fine. Do all your stuff. But you're not taking that outside, man. Yell right here. Let's address it. Let's get it done. But to have 2 games where Smart leaves the building and he's upset like that, that's where vets calm that down. Absolutely. Because the only player who should walk out like that is your best player.
Yep. Which is Tatum, by the way. But I agree with what David said, man. I think Al Horford was a bigger loss than maybe even the organization realized, because what happened last night was due to inexperienced youth. And, again, I'm not bashing Stevens, but the same thing for him in coaching.
He made mistakes.
Okay, this brings my second question. This is kind of a college football, kind of more for David, because I know he follows the SEC with LSU. How big of a problem do you think Mike Leach is going to be in the SEC for those defenses? Because the narrative for years has always been, Big 12 and these other conferences really don't play defense like the SEC. And I think Mike Leach is going to light up a lot of these SEC teams. I don't think what happened to LSU was just kind of a one game. When Mississippi State plays Alabama, I think he's going to torch them too. But I was just curious what your opinion is on if these SEC defenses are going to be able to handle what Mike Leach does offensively.
Right now, looking at this schedule, I would say Mississippi State's going to be favored in every game except for Alabama, Auburn, and Georgia. So if that's the case in a 10-game schedule, if they go 8-2, let's say they upset one of those other 3, Alabama, Auburn, or Georgia, because I don't see them losing to Arkansas, which is an awful team. Kentucky is okay, but they're not going to be able to stop that passing attack. Texas A&M is always overrated. I've not seen Jimbo Fisher. As long as Jimbo Fisher has been there, and even Jimbo, has he proven to be worth the highest contract in the SEC? No. So then you get Alabama, which is at Alabama. I don't expect them to win that. Then you bounce back with Vanderbilt, and then you close with Auburn, Georgia, Mississippi, and Missouri. They're gonna beat Mississippi and Missouri too. So 7-3 is a legitimate thing for that team, and he's got a quarterback who came there. Look, the last two quarterbacks that he brought in, he said, "Hey, do you want to come down here and lead the nation in passing?" Okay, great. Now that guy's in the NFL. Now he's gonna have this year. He's got to transfer from Stanford, watch him lead the country in passing, and go to the NFL. So 7-3 in your first year for Mike Leach, and you're gonna all of a sudden get some recruits because people want to play in that offense.
Yeah, sure.
And now he's got SEC money behind him, not Texas Tech money,
right?
Not Washington State money.
State money, right?
Mississippi State has given out some money in recent years, and we've seen that they did okay. They still haven't won an SEC title, but they've been a solid team. If he can get a couple of stars on defense, which is always the problem with that team, is if he can get stars, a couple of guys to make that defense average, then they're a team that's going to be a top 4 team in the West for the reasonable future. I don't think that they'll ever win a national championship with him, but if you're top 4 in the West, you're always going to be in position for a solid bowl game.
Yeah. Todd, unfortunately, we're up against a break, man. We'll respond some more off while you're off air, okay?
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Todd. Todd Malcolm, always a good call. Let me go ahead and get another break in. We'll be right back. I want to respond to that as well on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It's Media Monday.
I'm Gary Bledsoe, Texas NAACP president. In my lifetime, we have worked and sacrificed to make real progress.
That's right, Gary. I'm Claude Cummings, Vice President of the Communication Workers of America. Our community is under attack again.
Our jobs are being exported. The court system has largely turned its back on us, and people need to realize, Claude, is the last election amounts to a true revolution, where all those gains in civil rights and human progress are actually being targeted.
I know powers in Washington want to deny health care to working people who have pre-existing conditions, eliminate environmental protections for minority communities. It even encourages racism.
We thought those days were gone.
Dr. King said the time is always right to do what is right.
Let's do what's right. Let's vote and get your family and friends to vote too. If you don't, you should not be surprised to see drastic changes in your world.
Vote early or on election day.
Political advertising paid for by the Communications Workers of America.
You're listening to 1140 AM and 92.3 FM, the legendary KYOK.
I'm going to tell you how you can get real health insurance for as little as $6 a day. Yes, now you can get affordable health insurance for you and your family immediately, starting at just $6 a day. And coverage is guaranteed regardless of your medical condition. That's right, for about $6 a day, you can have guaranteed health insurance. And there's dental, vision, and prescription coverage too. You owe it to yourself and your family to make this free call right now and learn more. There are no deductibles, no waiting period, no contracts, and coverage is guaranteed. Call National Health right now for your risk-free, guaranteed health insurance quote, starting at just $6 a day. Call now.
800-797-0921. 800-797-0921. 800-797-0921. That's 800-797-0921. Paid for by GoHealth.
You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do? Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you with free shipping. And now if you test your blood sugar 4 more times a day and inject insulin 3 or more times a day, you may qualify to get a new continuous glucose monitor at little or no cost, which may eliminate the pain of pricking your fingers and helps you make smarter diabetes decisions. Plus, we'll send you a 90-day supply and bill your insurance company for you. Get some peace of mind. Call US Med today.
800-417-0851. 800-417-0851. That's 800-417-0851.
51.
This is Brian Courtney Wilson, and you're listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all. We're back here on The Lunch Break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It's Media Monday, and, I appreciate Todd's call. Liked his comments. Let me just say this, though, about Mike Leach. Mike Leach has a system that is done, I won't say well, but it has put up numbers in the Big 12 and the Pac-12. Week 1, game 1, first time out where we see the system and the wrinkles or the nuances that they've added into it. If he's doing the same thing by week 4, give him 3 more games. If he's doing the same thing and having the same success by then, I'll become a believer. But if the Pac-12 and the Big 12 can catch up to him, SEC can. SEC can.
I just don't think the defense
is the SEC superior defensive knowledge or anything like that. Not this year. But I believe that there are guys out there that take it serious enough. I mean, unfortunately, LSU had to be week 1 because, again, you can get the baseline of what he used to do, but you definitely don't have the element of surprise because he had all offseason to add a thing here or add a thing there, or, add some stuff that no one ever saw before. I'll give him that much credit, but I believe they're going to figure it out and make it hard.
He's only playing 3 strong defenses, in my opinion, Georgia and Auburn. And I'm not even sure about Bama's defense. Bama's secondary is very good.
Right.
But the whole thing is there are 5 guys out there running those routes. And that's the adjustment is that even in the SEC with LSU last year, LSU rarely did 5 receiver sets. That wasn't something that they did a ton. Yeah. People haven't really seen the 5 receiver set in the SEC since Hal Mumme. Because nobody's been, because the teams have been so talented at the wide receiver spot, the best ones, the Georgias, the LSUs, the Alabamas, that they don't have to run them. Right. But Lee wants to do it and wants to get as many problems on the field as possible just to get that one mismatch. If he can get one of his little speedy guys on your linebacker, that's all he's looking for. And if it's not there, he'll take the 7, he'll take the 5, and he'll throw it again on second down. He'll throw it again on third down. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Yeah, but let me say that one of the ways that I saw to slow that offense down is to not give the quarterback time to do it.
Yes, and gotta hit it.
Yeah, and unfortunately LSU didn't do that. I also followed this kid that he's got quarterbacking while he was at Stanford, and I'm just gonna call it like it. I don't know his mama, I don't know his daddy, none of his friends. He was one of the worst quarterbacks Stanford recruited. He was not the guy that Stanford needed to turn the reins over. He literally had a hitch in his delivery where it wasn't, you could tell somebody was in his head and he was trying to go through the motion, and that was not what Sean and Stanford needed at the time. And I'm not surprised that they ended up moving away from him. If Leach has figured that out for the young man and got him where he's literally going through it naturally as opposed to thinking about, great, good for him. But when that defense starts to get to him faster and not give him more time, I've seen what he used to do. Let me see what he can do now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the quarterbacks. What he typically does is take guys who are mediocre and make them really, really good statistically. Mm-hmm. Because, you look at the quarterbacks over his history. Like, he got his name. He made his name coaching Tim Couch. That was the guy he started with the air raid in Kentucky, the Hal Mumme offense. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, Oklahoma, and they win a championship with Josh Heupel, who was not a good quarterback. And then you're talking about guys like Cliff Kingsbury, who's not a coach of the Cardinals, and B.J. Simons, and all these guys, people who you never heard of, but all put up 5,000-yard seasons for him at Texas Tech. And now, who are you talking about? These guys from Washington State. What was the last one? Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
So, he turned Gardner Minshew into
a name that we got to repeat on Mondays. I get it. I get it. But like I said, we'll see.
I think in year 1, he sneaks up on everybody because nobody had any chance to prepare for him. And even the tape that they look at from week to week this year,
He does make adjustments.
The man has 87 adjustments for
Yep.
every route combination, and he just sits there on napkins and writes them down all day. Yeah. So, I mean, he's never going to show you the same look for an entire game. You're going to see formations, and they might put 9 guys somewhere away from the quarterback and run it. I don't know. You never know with Mike Leach.
Yeah, and that's why LSU, you know, I'll say last year, Alabama in past years, they remind me of Mike Tyson. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And LSU's front line last year had the ability to shut all that down before it ever got started. Alabama has the ability to shut all that down before it ever gets started. If the SEC defenses don't do that, you cannot guard all those receivers forever. Somebody's going to be the weakest link, and that offense is built to find them. So, like I said, give me a couple of more weeks, and we'll see. But Mike Leach, I'll give him this credit. I will never talk to him off the field, in person, in a restaurant, or an adult establishment. On the field, he's the Rain Man. He's the Rain Man. What do we do, Mike? Yeah, figure it out, compute it. That's what we're doing right there. But off the field, he is a nutbag, and hide your children, hide your wives.
Yes, and I just think this is a year in the SEC. Look how many teams are replacing their starting quarterbacks.
A lot of them, yeah.
And all the top teams in the SEC from last year, outside of Florida, have inexperienced quarterbacks under center. LSU started with a new quarterback. Alabama started with a new quarterback. Georgia starting with a new quarterback. I mean, look at it. If all the top teams, the only one that's returning is Florida and Auburn. And Auburn's quarterback is a sophomore, and so is Florida. So it's not like you have this depth of veterans at these positions. So these are the teams. This is a year that if you can get your system going, and if they finish, this is a year too. You could have half the SEC finish 7-3 because there ain't nobody outside the conference. There are no non-conference games. So you could have a bunch of teams getting multiple losses within conference and not making. I mean, what the big question for me is: Big Ten is going to play 6 or 7 games. Pac-12 is going to play 6. When we get to a playoff, what is this going to look like, man?
Yeah, and I was going to say, this is a year to not pay attention to the ratings. Do not pay attention to the weekly ratings because so much can happen non-football related to affect teams. And like you said, with these short non-conference, with these short only conference games, man, anything could happen. I mean, anything. You can see Illinois win the Big Ten. I mean,
you ain't gonna see that.
Well, you never know. You never know. It literally does take one team to have it more all together than everybody else. You just never know. So Todd said that Mike Leach has got his offense on a Whataburger napkin. Ball comes out quick. Okay. All right. Like I said, the first team that figures out how to get to him quickly, that Costello dude, I've seen him, man. I'm telling you,
that's what it always is in those offenses, though. It's hit the quarterback. If you can get to him, then that throws everything off because they have to get rid of it quickly. The offensive line, their job is to give it that 3 seconds. If it's anything less than that 3, if they can't give them 3, then that's how you beat them. That's how it's always been. You knock them off their spot. But we saw Texas Tech put up 60 on Oklahoma sometimes. Put up 50 on Texas with regularity. They're going to make you play with them. And if you mess up, that's his whole thing. Mike Leach is betting that you're going to misfire on more possessions than he will. That's what it is.
Real quick, can we have a moment of silence for Oklahoma? Real quick. Just a moment of silence for the Sooners. I mean, Billy, who is the ultimate Sooner fan. If you're not following Billy on Twitter, you got to do it. Dude is hilarious. Billy was like, "Aw, is that Sooner? What's your dog's name? Is his name Sooner?"
Macy. This is Macy. She's getting annoyed, so she wants to be on my lap now. This is Macy.
Hey, Macy, how you doing? Macy, we're sorry that Oklahoma lost. We're sorry that the U is back. A lot of love down there to De'Aaron King, Houston young man doing his thing. And what's crazy is the head coach of U of H, the guy that came from West Virginia. Hey man, you gambled wrong, bro. You gambled wrong. You got your son. You got some other joker in there, and De'Aaron King is on his way to Sundays. He's on.
I wanted LSU to pursue De'Aaron King. And they were like, no, we're good with Miles Brennan. And I kept saying, go for Derek, because that transition from from Joe Burrow to anybody was going to be difficult. But at least with Derek King, you had somebody who could run, who can throw, and had experience in winning games. So I didn't understand why, after all the grad transfers that LSU's going after, you choose not to go after the best quarterback available on the market who wanted to win and wants to get on Sundays. And now he's going to get an opportunity in Miami, of all places, which has been bad for a decade.
Yes. You bring the U back, you go on to Sundays. There's too many people making phone calls on your behalf. You go on to Sundays. And again, as dynamic as a runner that De'Aaron King is, folks are now getting to see what we saw in high school. The dude can light you up with his arm. And De'Aaron picked Florida State apart. And by the way, can we just say this real quick? It wasn't Willie's fault in Florida State. FYI, it was not Willie's fault in Florida State. So how long y'all gonna give this dude? That's all I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know how long you gonna give this dude, because he looked inept on that sidelines this past Saturday.
In game 1, Florida State fans were calling for Willie Taggart to come back. So yeah, like this is the thing. Again, they run off the black dude and gave him less time than normal, and didn't let him repair the mess that Jimbo Fisher left for him. Right. Jimbo Fisher turned that thing Jimbo Fisher was probably about 6 inches away from probation. And you send Willie Taggart in there, and this is also common too. You send the brother in to go clean up the mess, and then you bring the next guy in to benefit off of his skills because he did the recruiting. He brought the guys in, and then they mature under the next guy.
Yep. And Todd don't want to hear that, but that's what happened with Charlie Strong. The stuff that Charlie Strong had to clean up after Mac Brown at Texas was a full-time job by itself. And I got to coach against the Big 12 and other teams. So all I like to say is, well, you see what it is now.
You think about it with Mac Brown, it's always going to be, why did you stop recruiting quarterbacks after Vince Young? Like, you didn't get all these Texas quarterbacks. Texas produces the second most quarterbacks in the country. None of them were going to UT. None of them. They were going everywhere else. Not UT.
They got Major Applewhite. They had Major.
Major was pre Vinny, right?
Who was the guy after Vince? The
guy that took him to the championship.
Yeah.
And they lost to Bama when he got hurt.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah, Colt McCoy. Yeah.
But Colt was good, not great. You know what I mean?
But he was a Texas legend.
I mean, his name's
like Sam Ellinger. Sam Ellinger has his own video montage from when he was a little boy. He's like, I'm a Longhorn.
Win the game, dude.
Well, he did.
Win some games.
They came back and beat Texas Tech.
Ooh.
What's that? Odds of Texas are? Oh, we can't say that. That's got racist ties. I got to get Sybil Wilkes on. Let me get Sybil Wilkes on. We'll come back, and we got to go back to the NFL. Got to go back to the NFL. You did not yet go down the list of the Texans. They're going to win 9 in a row. We'll be right back after this on the lunch break on the Legendary KYOK.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know today about the coronavirus. 2 former leaders of a Massachusetts home for aging veterans have been charged in connection with the deaths of nearly 80 people infected with the coronavirus. The charges come 3 months after an independent report said the decisions made by administrators allowed the virus to spread. According to a study published by medical journal The Lancet, less than 10% of Americans had COVID-19 antibodies as of July. Health experts say some level of herd immunity will not be reached until a large percentage of people have access to a coronavirus vaccine. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced Democrats are currently working on their latest stimulus proposal with a price tag of around $2.2 trillion. The proposal includes additional aid for unemployment and direct payments to Americans affected by the pandemic. Please visit SybilWilkes.com to subscribe to my free daily newsletter. Be informed, be empowered.
I'm Ben Tankett, and you are listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the Legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. Don't forget, October 5th is the last day to register to vote. That's a week from today. That's the last day to register to vote. Early voting starts a week after that. October 13th through the 30th is when early voting begins. The last day to apply for a ballot by mail is October 23rd, and the last day to receive the ballot by mail is November the 3rd. So there you go. Make sure you have those dates. And do me a favor, vote early. Vote early. Do not wait to the last minute to vote. I guarantee you want to vote early. And do me a favor, whatever you do, get out and vote. If you have not yet seen enough to let you know that you got to vote, you have got to vote. Trust me, you got to vote. All right, get ready to hit the top of the hour. We'll do that. We'll come back with more of David Grubb, myself on the Lunch Break Media Monday. David Grubb, host of Hard in the Paint and writer for CrescentCitySports.com. We'll kick off this second hour and we'll talk about some of the games that you saw this past weekend in the NFL. All the teams in the region lost this weekend. We'll be right back right after this.
The legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe and 92.3 FM K222CX Houston.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
All right, thank you very much there, Amber, right here on the Lunch Break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It's hour number 2 of Media Monday. So glad to have my brother with me, David Grubb, host of Hard in the Paint, writer for CrescentCitySports.com. You heard me say right before the top of the hour that all the teams in the region lost. Texans, of course, lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Final score there was, 28-21. Cowboys could not pull off a miracle this weekend like they had done the week before. They lost 38-31 to Seattle. And then New Orleans lost to Green Bay last night on Sunday Night Football, 37-30. It's one of those media-related questions because there's no such thing. Who had the better loss out of those three?
I mean, I guess you probably still have to say the Cowboys.
Really?
To me, because at least you know that offensively they can produce. And the losses,
472, 3 touchdowns, but 2 ugly.
But they've done well offensively against good teams.
Okay.
And that was a winnable game yesterday against Seattle, which to me is right now the best team in the NFC. And Russell Wilson would be the 3-game MVP if you ask me.
Absolutely.
So you're in position to win, but your defense gives up a terrible deep ball and allows, after you fought, your defense gives it away. And that's been their problem, is that they give away big chunks of yards. They did it to Atlanta. They did it with Seattle. And so I wouldn't be worried offensively. Hey, we can put up 30 on anybody. But it's much like with the Saints situation. If you can't stop people, then it doesn't matter. At Dallas, any defense that's giving up more than 20 points a game, it's going to be hard to win a Super Bowl. You know the deal. Every year it's those teams who hang around in that 16 to 18, 20-point range. But when you're giving up 23, 27, unless you got Kansas City on offense on the other side, it's almost impossible to win like that. The Ravens have a good defense. The Chiefs have a good defense. The Cowboys don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I'm getting ready to look up right now. Who's the Cowboys' defensive coordinator?
Isn't it still Rod Marinelli? No, not Marinelli anymore, because he left with Garrett. So who is their defensive coordinator?
I'm looking.
Oh, Mike Nolan. Mike Nolan.
And
Mike Nolan hasn't been great in a while. There's a reason nobody's asked him to be a head coach for a second time.
And I think McCarthy made a friend of the family kind of pick there. He and Nolan go way back. They've been friends for years. Nolan has a problem with that defense. If you give them a little bit better defense to go with that offense, Dallas is something to talk about. Here's the crazy thing. Did you notice who's on top of the NFC East?
Yeah.
The Washington football team.
But everybody stinks. Washington lost yesterday.
I give you that. But somebody has got to win the NFC East. And right now, I know it's week 3. But the Washington football team, out of everybody in the NFC East, tell me that you thought after 3 weeks the Washington football team would be on top.
I don't make any predictions about the NFC East anymore.
Yeah, nobody.
Like I never know who's going to win because it seems like all you need is 9 wins to win that division every year. If you can get to whoever gets to 9, and it's usually the last game of the season.
Right.
We got to that point the last 3 years. It feels like is that that division doesn't get solved until the last week, and it's somebody falling, bass backwards into the division title. And so, are you impressed with any of these? Philly is falling apart. You can see they're quitting on Todd Peterson and Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
So, look, Jalen Hurts going to be taking over for good real soon, it seems like. And the Giants, Daniel Jones, Cam Newton was on the market. Jameis Winston was on the market. Colin Kaepernick is on the market. And you went with Daniel Jones? Okay. All right. That's all I can say is with these people's decisions is you are telling on yourself. You are telling me that winning didn't matter when you go out there and you think Daniel Jones is going to be the guy who saves your franchise when Cam Newton is available, and I'm watching Cam turn back into Superman every day.
Yeah. Reggie Bush, former college great at USC, former member of the Saints. Didn't he win a Super Bowl with the Saints?
Yes, he did.
Okay, yeah, because somebody kind of argued me on that. It's like the dude's got a ring. Like, stop trying to discount him. But he said,
win the game.
Yeah, coaches that should be fired today. Adam Gase, that's New York Jets. Dan Quinn, Atlanta, that should happen. Joe Judge, the Giants, he shouldn't have gotten the job. And Bill O'Brien, trash for trading away at DeAndre Hopkins and thinking it was going to make his team better. I don't think he's wrong.
No, but like you said, it's highly unlikely that Houston is. You're firing your coach and your GM. You don't do that in the middle of the season. You just can't.
The McNairs don't do it. But let's go back up the top of the list. I mean, how much longer are we going to look at Adam Gase? He wasn't successful in Miami. He's not.
Adam Gase has like a week. I think he's done next week if they lose.
Okay. All right. So then let's go down to the next one, Dan Quinn. I mean, this is one of those, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to put you out of your own misery. I know you're not sleeping at night. I know you're chasing your dog out the house. I know that you're snapping at your wife. We're going to fire you. And we hate to do it, but you got to go. And you'll be better. And let's have a Rona hug.
Let's look at this. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about back-to-back 7-9 seasons after you went to the Super Bowl. This year, you're 0-3 with Green Bay next on the road. So you're going to be 0-4, most likely. Then you come home to play Carolina, which just came off a win. And at least you know out of Carolina, they have fought in every game. Nobody has blown Carolina out. They've been right. Their defense has been better than expected because I thought they were going to be one of the worst in the NFL, and they've been much better.
That's why I can't stand Pete Prisco. He had them at number 30 or 31 in his power rank. It's like, dude, they're not that bad. Like, stop it.
Atlanta could easily be 2-6 at the bye week. Because with Green Bay, Carolina, Minnesota, Detroit, Carolina again, and Denver, you'll beat Denver. That's what you be a favorite against Denver at home. You be the favorite over the Panthers. But do you have it now at this point? Can you literally have – you got beat by Nick Foles.
Right.
And Nick Foles got beat out by Mitch Trubisky to start the season. So – and you had a sizable lead and let Nick Foles work you.
There's just
Aaron Rodgers ain't gonna take a break on them.
Yeah, there's no long. I mean, first of all, let's just give LaFleur some credit up in Green Bay. That dude has come in and turned it around. That dude has come in and whatever Mike McCarthy wasn't or was no longer in Green Bay, LaFleur has quietly found that juice. He's found that juice, and you can see Aaron Rodgers playing at a whole different tempo than he did under the predictable offense with Green Bay.
Did you see last night the no-look throw that he did? I've never seen that. I know that the people want to bring up the Pat Mahomes, but that one was different. Aaron Rodgers was clearly looking downfield. Like that wasn't Magic Johnson, like I got the glimpse, flip it. No, that was a clean and a perfect spiral on a screen going forward. And Aaron, and he was flinging it, like you said, just a flick of the wrist, and the ball goes to the top of the Superdome and drops right in the bucket. the man is flinging it, and he seems like he's got that chip again.
That's
then you see him run down the field when his team scores, and he's posing with everybody else. That dude is energized.
Yep. And I got in trouble, by the white right because I sarcastically said, I don't know how long Aaron Rodgers is going to last in the league running the ball like that, because Aaron did what he hadn't done in years. Aaron took off for a 15-yard first down, and Aaron got down. Aaron did what he used to do. And, while I threw in the Lamar Jackson and I threw in the Deshaun Watson, part of my point for people who are not white and right is that, those are arguments that folks make against other players that do the same thing that Aaron Rodgers made his name on. Aaron Rodgers is doing some of the things that he used to do, and it's effective, man. That kind of stuff energizes the rest of the team. And oh yeah, by the way, doing it without Parker, doing it without his number one wide receiver. Green Bay's gonna be a problem this year.
Devontae Adams, you mean? Devontae Adams.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But look,
I'm on a mental roll today.
Look how those guys, the rest of those players, took off. They got plenty of production out of tight end. They get production out of second receiver. They ran the ball with two backs effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Two separate guys were able to get up and and pound on the Saints. That offensive line is very good. You didn't get near Aaron Rodgers last night. The Saints with a very good defensive line. That's the strength of that defense. They didn't get anywhere near Aaron Rodgers. And it's just, if you give Aaron Rodgers time, we all know that. He is still the most gifted thrower of the ball in the league when it comes to just all the factors: precision, touch, timing. If you give that man time, he will eat you up. And he did it to the Saints last night in every way possible. Short, long, he did it all.
David, stay right there. Quick break. We'll come back with more right here on David Grubb. And Keith Hennig, I'll answer your question right after this on the lunch break.
This is Earl G. Robinson. When people say my vote doesn't matter, when you don't vote, your vote counts against you. The other side gets a vote. If you want to fix our broken criminal justice system and reform your local police department to make it more accountable, you need to vote. If you want to increase economic prosperity in the black community, you need to vote. If you want to protect the right to vote, you need to vote. If you want more funding for our schools, you need to vote. Voting does matter. If Black Lives Matter to you, you need to vote. Early voting begins on October 13th and ends on October 30th. Election day is November 3rd. You need to vote. We all need to vote. If you don't vote, it will matter.
Paid for by the Communications Workers of America, District 6. Claude Cummings Jr., Vice President.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
This is Jonathan Joseph with the Houston Texans.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It's Media Monday. And David Grubb, host of Hard in the Paint and writer for CrescentCitySports.com, is joining us like we are so blessed to have him do on Mondays. Keith Hennig, caller of the year for 2020, said the white right. What is that? Keith Hennig, I posted on Twitter last night. I said just what I said, quote, I just don't know how long Rodgers is going to last running the ball like that, end quote, said no one ever, but let it be Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson. Some dude that I have no idea who he is, I don't know his mama, daddy, sister, or brother, named John Green, who just happens to be white, said terrible take. Been saying that about a lot of quarterbacks. Wentz, Allen, come on. Propagating race wars, question mark, question mark. First of all, John Green, whoever he may be, I don't know his work. I don't know his show. I don't hang out with him, so I don't remember him talking about other quarterbacks like Wentz, Allen, and the other folks. And then to suggest that I was propagating a race war. So I try to be polite. Apologies, John. I must have missed the times and places where you said the same. However, If that one little statement causes a race war, I assure you the problem was bigger than a tweet. Blessings to you, sir. John couldn't let it go. No need to apologize, but you certainly had a racial undertone to your message. Blessings to you also. The white right are people who feel like they have the ability, the authority, the whatever to tell anybody what they say on their own pages, on their own platforms, what their racial propensity is, what they're wrong about, what they should have said, and try and make it sound like what they say is right and more important than what anybody else says. And I don't know John Green. I'm not going to respond back to John Green. I tried to be, again, respectful. I got another guy who follows Aki. I don't even know, Life's Enjoyment or Life's Great or something like that, who, has come after me as a pastor, has come after me about my faith, has told me that I don't know blank about basketball and stuff like that. And all I've ever said to him is like, hey, listen, man, I don't know you. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to my friends, Aki. I was talking to my friend Todd. I even backed out of posts. I even deleted all my stuff out. And the man has gone through my page and started pulling personal stuff out to the point where I'm about to get a couple of my homeboys who real slick with this internet stuff to pull up his IP address so we can go knock on his front door and say, hey, no need to post. I'm right here. I'm right here. What you got? Oh, this is Fruity and Fruity Boy.
Please don't be a hashtag.
I'm just, but see, that's what I'm saying. Folks think because you read one thing on my paper, on my page, that you know everything about me. And when it comes to my personal stuff, if he says something about my children, he says something about my ex-wife, he says something about my family, I promise you, I'm going to find you and we're going to have a face-to-face conversation. And where it goes from there, like the ghetto boys say, if it's going down, then let's get it over with. Because it's the wrong time to play with people personally. And I need my white friends to understand this right now. Now is not the time for it to be business as usual. Your boy, your best friend over there down the way on the dial.
Man, quit doing that.
Had the nerve. He had a guy on there on the show who played at LSU who he didn't know. He only knew of him. And he said, yeah, man, I normally don't get along with the West Bank boys, but I got to give you some credit. You done well. And it was an awkward pause. And he still doesn't realize that term boy, you need not be using that with grown black men or anybody for that matter right now. And sure enough, the host of the show and the guest of the show, they went on to something more professional. I still don't think he understands that a white man calling a black man a boy right now is just the wrong look. Like you just don't want to do that.
No, and I'm a West Banker. That's my side. So yeah, don't mess with the West Bank. Don't come for us. And certainly that might have been Marlon. Actually, that might have been Marlon because Marlon is from the West Bank and it was from LSU guys. So there's a couple of them that I probably know them. If West Bank is small,
Yeah, and he had Marlon on because Marlon is writing for Pittsburgh somewhere up because they had him on the show. I remember that interview. But this was a former LSU player. I forget what his name was. And like I said, Gordy didn't know it. And, he kind of closed out with that to end the segment. And when I tell you, they left a very pregnant pause after he said West Bank boy. And it was like, okay. And they didn't even readdress him. They went back to, all right, man, thank you for coming on, blah, 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 blah. Like, you just can't do that, man. You just cannot do that.
My daddy don't call me boy anymore. The only people call me boy are my boys. Your friends. Like, that's my boy, but no, I'm 45. You ain't gonna be calling me no. If I was 25, you ain't gonna be calling me boy. I will tell you this. I was working in Alexandria, Louisiana. That was my first full-time TV job. And the station manager kept calling me son. And I didn't like it. I did not. I told him, I said, I'm a professional. Call me David, call me Mr. Grubb, call me whatever. But don't call me son. And he kept doing that and he felt really comfortable doing it. Right. And eventually we got into an argument over it. And that's when everything turned because then I became the angry black guy, and then people didn't want to deal with me, and so I was like, well, I got to get out of here, and I went over and got my next job in Springfield, Mass. But yeah, it's that thing of just that, and Alexandria was the first time in my life that I had ever been called colored, and then it was in 1999, and they were and I got called colored in Alexandria, Louisiana, covering a sporting event. So.
And that's the thing. They're wrong, but want to make you feel like you're wrong for calling them out about being wrong. Now you're labeled with an attitude problem and an angry black man and all this other kind of stuff, when all you had to do is give me the same respect that you give everybody else. You know, a lot of folks forget when Dick Vermeil was calling Larry Johnson son and things like that. And Larry Johnson spoke out and said, listen, my dad's alive and well. That is my hero. He can call me son, but I'm a grown man. So you're not going to be talking to me about diapers. You're not going to be talking to me about putting on my big boy panties and all this other kind of stuff. I'm a grown man. And folks vilified him. And I was 100% times 1,000 with him. Like, listen, tell me I need to play better. Tell me I need to block better. Tell me I need to study my playbook. All this boy and son and diapers and panties and all that, we're not having those conversations. And Vermeil was doing that in the media.
Yep. And I mean, I love my high school basketball coach. He's one of the most influential people in my life. And, you know, and he wrote me a letter when I graduated. He said, I love you as much as your parents do. But at no time did I ever call him a father figure, because I have a father.
Right.
And he understood that. It's like, you know, I mean, he never referred to me as son or anything like that either. He knew my father. They were, you know, they got along. And so he always called me David. He never called me anything else. He treated me with that respect even as a teenager. And so if the people who really love you don't do that, then strangers for sure have no business addressing you that way.
Don't have the latitude to do it. So yeah, man, Keith, that's what the white right is. So anyway, got to take another break. When we come back, we got to get through the rest of these football games, David, because I want to find out for you, what was the surprise of the weekend in the NFL? Who surprised you the most? And you cannot say Detroit. You just can't. You can't.
They had 1 in 12 games.
You cannot say Detroit. We'll be right back right after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
You're diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't.
Isn't it amazing, though, that white folk always know what the racism is? They always know. They know who the real racists are. It's never them, though.
About going to
the only way you can be a racist and be white is if you explicitly say, I hate black people. And even then, they'll justify it and be like, what's in his past? Who hurt him?
And inject insulin 3 or more
White folks know everything about everything. If we talk about race, they got all the answers. If we talk about economic inequality, they got all the answers. We have never had an answer for anything. Anything we say, nope.
Well, it's not that. I've sat in a panel where somebody will be answering the question and say, listen, what we really are trying to say, and the panelists, the other cultured panelists,
explain it.
No, that's not it. What it really is they just told you what it was. You're now going to tell people who you've never lived a day of their life what it really is.
And the overwhelming, again, we've seen the stats. Overwhelming of white people, overwhelming majority have one person of color as a friend.
Windows and get the fifth one free. Plus get 12
most don't at all.
Down and no payments.
If they got one, they only got one.
The fifth one free. Installation and
Valencia is giving us love on Twitter.
Renewal by Anderson takes every CDC
I love Valencia.
precaution to protect your family. For 25 years, people have trusted us for their window replacement needs, and you can too. Call now to learn about our buy 4, get the fifth one free window replacement offer.
800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Interest accrues from date of purchase, but is waived if paid in full within 12 months. Other conditions apply. We've adjusted our operations to serve you safely following all CDC guidelines. Visit renewalbyanderson.com for details.
Beautiful people, this is Major. This is why I love you on the lunch break.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It's Media Monday. Al High said, don't mess with the Algiers and West Wingo. West Wego. Man, you better know it. You better know it. I'm telling you, I know about
Algiers, Gretna, Harvey, Marrero, West Wego. Don't come over here and tell me on the west side.
Don't play. Listen, you better march on the other side of the bank. Don't come over there. Karen Gibson says, I was called a girl in the mall in Dallas, and the person turned to a child and addressed her as lady. I went there with her in a calm voice and got her manager. Yes, ma'am. And listen, I'm not trying to make my battle everybody's battle, but until some of these things get checked, folks are gonna feel like they have the right and the liberty to do it. And I'm sorry, you don't. I'm not your enemy, but I'm not going to take everything that comes out of your mouth. And yeah, I'll choose my battles. I will. That's some things I'll just, like I said, this cat on Facebook, I need him to leave me alone. I need him to know he's playing in dangerous territory, but I'm not going to respond to him. I'm not going toe-to-toe with him. Same thing with this dude on Twitter. I don't need to be in Twitter fights with folks. I got more important things to do.
Yeah, mute button is a lovely thing.
It is, and I'm trying to stick to my own words. I don't think grown men should be blocking each other on social media. I'm not going to block him, but I'm also not going to put up with him. I'm going to make the social media people do their jobs. This person is harassing me. If they don't do their jobs, I got plenty of folks that work for HPD and the sheriff's department, what have you. They'll do their jobs. I know that. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right, David, surprise game of the weekend, NFL.
Since you won't let me pick the Lions.
It can't be the Lions.
You won't let me pick the Lions. Shoot.
No,
I'd have to say Miami over Jacksonville the way that they did it.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about Miami is dead in the water.
Yeah.
And it's not like Jacksonville's a juggernaut, but it's the way that they won that game. I was so surprised that they were able to pull it off that way. And they needed that. And Brian Flores needed that. And again, I root for that guy. He overachieved last year. And I think he's gotten kind of a raw deal as far as the talent that they've put around him on that roster. So I was really happy to see that. And defensively, they had played so weak in the first couple games, for them to bounce back that way and do what they did, hold Jacksonville to 13 points. We'll see if that's some momentum for Miami, because it's still a division that, the Jets, like you said, the Jets look done.
Yeah,
they're done. Yeah. The Patriots are better than we thought.
Yep.
Buffalo looks really good. Josh Allen has progressed a lot further than I thought he would from last year to this year.
Buffalo needs a trophy, a statue.
I mean, I thought he was okay last year, but I never thought he was going to be putting up these kind of numbers and be as accurate as he's been this year. But to me, it was just, Miami needed that win. The rest of the games were tended to be really close. A lot of points are getting scored, but my picks, I went 8-2 on the spreads this weekend. So, not a lot of surprises for me.
Yeah. I got to tell you what mine are real quick. Buffalo beating the Rams was surprising. I know Buffalo was at home, and that's why I go to my other one. My other one was Carolina beating the Chargers in LA. And again, I know we don't have crowds and all that, but Carolina went from the East Coast to the left coast and beat a team that was coming off of some momentum with a very nice win. And Anthony Lynn might not have his offense all together because he doesn't have Tyrod Taylor and he's starting a rookie. But, that defense didn't shut Carolina down either. They didn't make Bridgewater uncomfortable. Bridgewater was without McCaffrey. For Carolina to win that game, that was something. That was eye-opening. I was impressed by that victory.
Yeah, it was important for Carolina. It's important for Teddy because I think Teddy played well last week. I think he played well in week 1. I think he played well against the Chargers. And what you're seeing, too, out of Teddy is that he's not doing these – everybody had this thing that he's just dump down. No, that's not who he is.
At all.
That's not who he is. He can throw the ball. I watched him at Louisville.
Right.
I saw him take that butt whooping against Florida when they just kept slamming into him over and over again.
Yep.
And he stands in that pocket and he will throw it. And he's not scared.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I like Teddy. I still miss him in New Orleans, and it's kind of like fans are starting to miss him down here too. But that was a good win for them.
22 for 28, 235, a touchdown, no interception. Didn't turn the ball over. So Bridgewater got a lot of love there. And then, like I said, Buffalo beating the Rams, who, again, were coming off of some momentum. Folks are starting to say the Rams are back. And every step of the way, well, actually, Buffalo was up 21-3 at the half.
Mm-hmm. And the Rams made a run. But I picked Buffalo in that one just because I think they've been more consistent. The Rams seem to have, these periods. Again, they fell behind against Buffalo. They were up on Dallas, and then they let Dallas get back into that game. The Rams have not been able to sustain 4 quarters of football. And I thought going to Buffalo, at the very least, Buffalo is one of those teams that does not shoot itself in the foot. And they didn't do that. They didn't play great, but they didn't shoot themselves in the foot to win that game. And Josh Allen, again, is just playing great football.
Yeah, got to give credit where the credit is due. Al High says that Saints should have kept Teddy. Let's talk about that. I literally said, what in the hell was that when Taysom Hill came in and didn't tuck the ball away, fumbled? I mean, again, that's not why they lost the game, but that was crucial at that moment, and the Saints never recovered. What is with Sean Payton and the Taysom Hill package? Like, what does it do for the team? What momentum does it add to them? Like, granted, it's another first down when he does it. It gets the crowd sometimes. But, if you got Teddy Bridgewater, if you got Teddy, you're not doing that. You're not, well, I guess you are. They did bring him in to do all that kind of nonsense when Teddy and Drew were there. What's going on with
see, that's the thing. You're paying Taysom Hill $7 million this year. $7 million. And I think he has 8 total touches in 3 games. You brought him in and you said, we're going to use him. Remember, that's what the Saints told everybody, is that you're going to see a lot of Taysom Hill this year. You're going to see it because this is the guy we think is the quarterback of the future. And they were comparing him. Legitimate NFL writers were comparing Taysom Hill to Lamar Jackson and saying he could be better than Lamar Jackson.
I heard it. I read it. I saw it. Yeah, you're right.
And to me, like, I'm glad that there were players last night saying, don't ever. I smack the taste out your mouth, basically, if you put those 2 guys in the Baltimore Ravens players were just all over that last night. Yeah. And as well they should be. You can't. Taysom Hill was a gimmick, and that gimmick is wearing out. And I keep telling they always want to compare Taysom Hill and talk about how versatile he is. You add up his total stats for these 2.25 seasons now, and he's still not had that's not Cordell Stewart's worst year.
Right.
At Slash.
Yeah.
It was as Slash, not starting quarterback, but as Slash. Yeah. Taysom Hill is not that guy. He's not that guy. So let's stop this and stop pretending this. But the main problem is that the farthest ball, Drew Brees still didn't throw a pass that reached 20 yards.
I saw you tracking that on Twitter. So if and I know we're ifing and thenning. If the Saints had kept Teddy Bridgewater, what do you think would be different? There's no way Sean Payton takes the baton and passes it to Teddy Bridgewater in the middle of or the beginning of Drew Brees' final season. They're going to find a way to dink and dunk with Brees through 16 games. They're going to find a way to do that. Am I right?
Yeah, but I was fully on board with last season being Drew's season because I think that you would reach the ceiling. Mm-hmm. You're talking now 10 years past that Super Bowl, and the Saints have only made 1 NFC title appearance since that Super Bowl. 1. So you tell me.
Yeah, but wait a minute now. A lot of supernatural things have happened.
It don't matter. That life don't care about that.
Yeah,
do you have the ring or not? That's the question. Do you have the ring?
I got black and gold under here. But
it don't matter. Ain't nobody gonna remember that what happened when people go back 20 years from now. They're gonna say you went 10 years and didn't ever get back to the Super Bowl, and they're gonna look at all those numbers. And they're gonna say you were the modern Dan Marino. You put up a bunch of numbers.
Yeah.
You got 1 Super Bowl out of it. Now Marino didn't win his, but What is the difference really between and same with Favre? You got all the numbers, but once your peak hit, and after that, what did Favre's playoff record look like? How many interceptions did he throw in big playoff games after those 2 Super Bowls that he made his appearances in? Never got back. Yeah. So I think it's just. When you look at Drew Brees' career, you're going to say these but he was a big reason. The Minnesota game, they didn't score a point in the first half. So now you're trying to come back. The Minnesota Miracle doesn't happen if you put up 6 points in the first half, just 6. Then you talk about the Rams game. Okay, well, you went to overtime, and on your first possession, you threw a pick. So that's on you.
I was going to say his playoff record the last 2 seasons have boiled down to Drew. That untimely fumble last year where he threw the running back under the bus or offensive coordinator under the bus. We should never have been in that play. But you didn't cover up the ball. You didn't tuck the ball away. That was on you. I don't care what you should have been in. And then the interception, the just horrible interception. But again, I just don't feel like if Teddy was still there right now, I don't see anything being different.
The only way it's different, this is what you have to say. Because if you can't say that Mike Thomas wouldn't be hurt right now, you can't, whatever those things are. Right. But if the Saints had cut their loss, which I think is, hey, it's always just the same way the Patriots did. What did the Patriots do? They could have gone out this year and said, hey, we can ride out with Tom Brady and give him his final year here or final 2 years and let him retire as a Patriot. Bill Belichick ain't about that life. He said, I'm getting rid of anybody. It don't matter who you are. He would cut his mama a year early if he had to. So, I mean, the Saints refused to do that with Drew. And now you're going to have this season. If they don't get there, everybody's going to look back at the front office and say, yeah, you could have spent $12 million, $15 million, brought Teddy back, and we would have felt just as fine because the most important players on this team are Alvin Kamara and Mike Thomas. It ain't Drew Brees anymore.
Yeah, that's true. David Grubb, host of Hard in the Paint and writer for CrescentCitySports.com, covers the Saints. So, I definitely value what he says. Kamara looks like he's earning his money.
I mean, take away his yards after contact yesterday for receiver and rushing, and what did the Saints have?
Nothing.
That dude, he was the entire offense last night. The entire offense.
You know my favorite player of the game. We giving him a game ball. We giving him
screen throw.
Man,
Eric McCoy out there running and leading that block. A center getting downfield and leading the blocking. And the impressive part of that too is, do you remember Tony Dorsett's 99-yard run?
Yeah.
It wasn't a sprint. Tony got to that side and he kind of was like, there would be times he hesitated.
Yeah.
Mara did that too. It's like, now speed up.
Yeah.
Slow down, speed it up. And he just knew that body control. And I compared it to this morning on Twitter and somebody said that was a really apt comparison. Right now, Alvin Kamara is like Marshall Faulk before Peyton Manning. Before Peyton Manning got there, and Marshall Faulk had to do everything for the Colts. That's where Alvin Kamara has been this year through 3 games. If he doesn't play well, they'd be blown out of each of these games.
Man, let me tell you something. I had to give McCoy some love. I'm not a big, but baby, I felt like won that game, man. After that play right there, because I like the way when he got to that side, he said, come on. And Kamara, like you said, Kamara dropped it down to a lower gear, let McCoy do what he had to do, and then, baby, he made it happen. But, boy, I tell you what, man, he would have got to spike the ball. He would have got to take the ball. Get him another ball. Get him his own ball. But that's good to see, because let me compare that to something else. That kind of teammate synergy is what helps you get to victories, okay? Yesterday, TJ Watt knocked Deshaun Watson into a whole nother season. Legally, but it was close. It was on the sideline, and he nailed him right in the sternum. Not one single Texan got over there to pick their quarterback up. Not one single Texan went over there to check TJ Watt and say, yo, bro, that's my quarterback. You done hit him a little too hard for my good. And nobody took it out on Ben Roethlisberger or anybody else on the Pittsburgh Steelers side. That is culture that is being set from the top down.
Why would you have a lot of team unity at this point for the Texans? Why would anybody care about anybody on that team other than the fact that, maybe my physical safety's but clearly I think they're quitting. They're quitting. Like, they're not playing with any fire. You watch them play. Do you see them walking out and saying, I know we're going to win today? Or are they saying, I hope we win today? The body language tells you everything when you watch a team. And they don't believe I don't think they believe they're going to win when they walk out onto the field, because you don't see that kind of energy out of them when anything happens. It's kind of just like, okay, First down, let's go. Got another first down. When they do put anything together, there's no genuine, like, and again, this is what happens too when you take a whole team and you strip it of all the guys who were there that I'm familiar with, and you bring me a bunch of guys who I don't know. And it's not just timing, it's the chemistry. How could he have developed any kind of rapport relationship with any of these guys over the summer when they weren't around each other? And you can't do that over the Zoom calls and over some kind of meeting. You've brought it into a situation where Deshaun Watson has to be looking around and just say, that deal, I know I signed it, but gosh, man, come on. Is the money worth it? Because I'm about to take a beating for 4 years.
And the good thing is he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He signed a short enough deal that he can make some things happen in possibly 2 years. Legitimately, in 2 years, he can make some things happen.
Well, his agent going to be on the phone, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Especially if O'Brien is still the coach.
Yeah.
I can't see him wanting to ride out if O'Brien gets – no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Let's do this. I'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Let's look at the Week 3 standings. Tell me if you see any surprises other than Washington football team on top of the NFC East. I might get me a shirt. I might get me a Washington football team shirt and start rocking with them in honor of our little sister, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. How about that? We'll be right back on the legendary KYOK.
I'm Gary Bledsoe.
I love Kelsey. I ain't never wearing nothing for that team.
In my lifetime, we have worked and sacrificed to make real progress. That's right, Gary.
Somebody would never get a nickel of my money.
Workers of America.
Not a nickel.
Under attack again. Our jobs are being exploited.
Like I said, I wouldn't pee on him if he was on fire.
I'm going to get me a bootleg one off the side of the road by some homeboy selling him some shirts.
How can anybody stop you? Because it's not like Washington football team is something that you can't print on anything. You can print that on anything.
Environmental protections for minorities.
So they can't own nothing. I guarantee you some bootleggers are making money outside that stadium wherever they are in D.C.
Let's do what's right. Let's vote.
Those at the green shop in an hour. You got there just watching the football team, burgundy gold. Let's go.
You gonna make me have my T-shirt, lady. Print me one up, man. Hold on.
Of America.
All right, stand by. We got one more. No, two more.
The legendary KYOK.
I'm going to tell you how you can get real health insurance for as little as $6 a day. Yes, now you can get affordable health insurance for you and your family immediately, starting at just $6
What do
a
recruits
day.
look like at LSU at quarterback? Anybody on the horizon?
Medical condition.
Oh, yeah, they got a bunch of them. 4- and 5-star guys, but they're all freshmen or redshirt freshmen. So there was no chance for them to start because they had no camp. So they weren't going to get past Brennan. And plus, Brennan,
no waiting.
There's this weird thing about him that I don't understand. All I've heard from coaches and people who observe is that he was so interested in being the quarterback at LSU, but not interested in doing the work to be the quarterback at LSU. And they say, well, all that switched when Burrow got there. I'm like, that. Nobody switches like that. People don't switch like that.
800
I just don't believe that. I've never seen that before.
797-0921. Paid for by Go Health.
Hang on a second.
You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do? Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you.
Like I said, 7 and 3, 6 and 4.
Now you test your blood sugar for
I don't think they're going to be able to turn the defense around fast enough. They ain't going to win at Bama. Yeah, I mean, Bama comes here this year, I think. So they ain't going to be Bama. They ain't going to beat Auburn.
Quarterback, I wasn't impressed with him.
The pain of pricking your fingers.
LSU got something with Bama. Like last year was, the unusual thing, but it's when Bama comes to town, it messes them up. Yeah. And if they can't stop them, that's the thing. They better get that deep. And I'm worried about Derek Stingley. They said it wasn't anything. It was a cute illness. Maybe it was just his appendix. But they won't explain it, and we'll see.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of odd, too.
0851.
Lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
Big shout out to BJ. Thanks for tuning in. Also, it is the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones, along with my brother, David Grubb, host of Heart of the Paint and writer for CrescentCitySports.com. David, let's go down the AFC and look at the standings. Buffalo 3-0 in the East, Patriots 2-1, Dolphins 1-2, Jets being the Jets 0-3. About what you expected or not?
Yeah, I think so. Once we saw that Cam was the quarterback, I believe in that. I'm not going to stop believing in Cam. And right now, certainly he would be, if we were calling him, he'd be the favorite for comeback player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
He looks so healthy.
He really does.
I mean, that's the thing. He's moving well.
Yep.
You can see that the confidence is there, not only in his ability, because that doesn't change, but in his body. And you that run that he made yesterday in the second half, and Cam would have fought for those yards. You know what I'm saying? He had space to probably get another 3 or 4 more if he wanted to. Cam slid. And so I think it's you've seen it, and you put a marriage of a guy who is extremely driven like Cam, who has won everywhere he's ever been in his life.
Everywhere. Even at Blinn College.
So, won a national championship at Blinn, national championship at Auburn, took the most nondescript Panthers team to the Super Bowl, and then you bring him to the Patriots, where you are now saying, we got everything for you. We've got a solid defense. Yeah. We have a running game behind you. We're going to let you throw it vertically to your receivers, and they're going to catch it. So, and we're going to put you in positions in one-on-ones where you can use your athleticism and get outside. Mm-hmm. They've tailored that offense to him that quickly. It took no time for them to figure out what he does well and make him comfortable. So, the Patriots are not as much a surprise because they've always adapted.
Yeah, I said that I am not giving the AFC East to Buffalo just because they're Buffalo and that Tom Brady's gone in New England. Cam Newton with Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, that's going to be a dangerous trio right there. It's going to be a dangerous trio. All right, AFC North, Steelers 3-0, Ravens 2-0, that team up in Northern Ohio 2-1, Cincinnati 0-2-1, and by the way, that 0-2-1, that and 1 came over a Eagles team that should have handled Cincinnati. I'm not saying Cincinnati's going to be the surprise team of the year, but what did you think about the AFC North?
Cincinnati's biggest problem is they can't protect Joe Burrow. He's getting knocked out, and that AJ Green is done.
Yeah,
AJ, you hate to see it because the way the end of his career looks because of all the injuries. It's just really, just a bad end, it seems.
Yeah.
This is one of the best receivers in the NFL for a good 6-7 years. Yeah. And so I think that hurts them to not have that. He hasn't caught 60 yards in a game since last year.
Yeah. It's
and so, that's Cincinnati's problem. I don't think Cleveland solved its problems yet. If they didn't skate by Cincinnati, we're talking about them in a much different way.
Very much so.
And I don't think the Steelers are as good as their record indicates. They've gotten by as well. Not really, looking great, but they've gotten by. To me, it's still the Ravens division until somebody proves otherwise, because the Ravens are loaded everywhere. And so we'll see tonight legitimately how good they are against Kansas City. But overall, look, to me, it's still Kansas City and Baltimore.
Yeah, I got to give credit to Tomlin. I've said if he had a quarterback last year, instead of trying to run around with a racist and a duck, they would have been in the playoffs. And now, again, they've got just enough quarterback play to go with that defense. And it showed up yesterday. Yeah, they gave up a lot of points. But, again, the quarterback stepped up, got them in position. They got the win. And we go on to the next one. So, again, I'm with you. Ravens division and Steelers will be the second best team in that division. AFC North, it is the Titans 3-0, Colts 2-1, Jaguars 1-2, and the Texans 0-3. Just give me your thoughts on that division.
Remember, before the season started, we said the Texans were probably going to be third or fourth, that it was either them or Jacksonville. So this isn't a surprise to either of us. We always thought Tennessee was the best team in this division. The thing about Tennessee is it's going to look a lot like this all year long. They are not a team that's going to blow anybody out. They're going to win games close, and that's what they want to do because they don't want to put Tannehill in positions where he's got to win those games for them. So they want to grind and keep it close. That's going to cost them a couple games because nobody can keep playing with that razor. But I think that they still win the division. Phillip Rivers, let's not do this. Can we not do this and pretend that he's made it back and is on the come up? It's over. Phillip Rivers, you just riding it out.
Yep.
Indy's competing, but Frank Reich is on that thing where I think Frank Reich is going to get fired probably if not by the middle of the year, by the end. So I don't think he stays around much longer.
That's a serious statement because I thought Frank Reich was the second best coach in the division. I got to give it to, as much as I don't want to, because I think he got the job before he was ready, was Mike Vrabel, but he is the best coach in the AFC South. Frank Reich, a close second.
Is that hard to be, though?
Yeah, I know.
What are you looking at? Of those four,
the bar's low.
The bar is low.
Yeah, but that's more at the Bill O'Brien apologist than it is anything else. Bill O'Brien is not the brain that he wants everybody to believe he is.
Doug Marrone is probably going to get fired.
He needs to. The model for the Texans all these years has been what Bill O'Brien has built his legacy on. Win your division games. That's 6 wins right there. You just got to go out and find 2 or 3 more, and you can find 2 or 3more. You're gonna go
win 6-0 in the division. Nobody goes 6-0 in the division. Even the Patriots don't go 6-0.
Before out of the 4 times they won the AFC South, 3 times they went 6-0. 3 times.
But you can't do that every year in the NFL and think that that's going to be a thing. If that's your plan.
But watch this. The plan is to win the division. The plan is to win the division. Then you got to figure out how to beat Kansas City. Then you got to figure out how to beat New England. But that's how Bill O'Brien has fooled the masses with his deal. It's not hard. It's a numbers game. And look, when is the last time the AFC South has been a power division? It hasn't been.
Not since Manning left. Since Manning left.
Notice you didn't say luck because everybody thought
didn't win anything.
Okay. So my point is this. For Tennessee, they win the division, and guess what? We've seen them take the division win to the AFC conference championship game. We've seen that. We've not seen the Texans do that. We've seen them win the division and either go out in the first round or the second round. I think Tennessee is going to stack up enough wins where they're not going to have to worry about Indianapolis. They're not going to have to worry about the Texans. And they certainly are not going to have to worry about Jacksonville. Wins build confidence. Confidence is dangerous come playoff time. So I think Tennessee
if Tennessee gets to 11, they're good.
Yeah.
They win that division by 2 games at least if they get to 11 wins. And
so, go ahead.
Yeah, so that would be my thing. Is like it's they have the best all-around group. They have a quarterback who's not making mistakes. They have a defense that's solid. They've added, obviously added Jadeveon Clowney. And then you've got Derrick Henry, who you can give the ball to 25 times a game and go ahead and do it. And you play mistake-free football. That's all. And that will give a team that doesn't have a giant amount of talent.
Right.
They'll always have a chance to win.
Absolutely. The AFC West, Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos in that order. 2-0, 2-1, 1-2, and 0-3.
Man, the Raiders are a surprise.
I was going to say they're the surprise, but are they for real?
I don't know if they're for real. I'm not sold on them because they beat the Saints and they beat it's like everybody's beating the Saints right now, so that's not really impressive. Right. They played well though yesterday. I give them their credit. They hung in there as long as they could. They're very young still on the outside with their receivers. They haven't gotten enough size on their defense. They're very small on their defense, so they have to be fast. And I think that they wear down. If they don't put up points, they have to. They're one of those teams that can't rely on their defense yet. Their defense can make plays. Those guys make plays, but they're just so small. I mean, their D line looks like it's everybody on there is maybe 260. They don't look like they have that, especially up the middle. They don't have that anybody to cave in the pocket. So if they don't get there with their speed, you can wear them out.
Gotcha.
But I don't know if they're for real, but they're not going to be bad. They're not going to be. But John Gruden to me is another one of those guys who lives in 9-7, 10-6 world.
Yeah, I got the Chargers knocking them off for number 2. Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, that other team, Denver. Real quick through the NFC. I'm not going to do the NFC East. That's a joke. Packers 3-0. The Bears 3-0. Lions, your team 1-2, and the Vikings 0-3. Is it going to stay like that? What do you think is going to happen there, real quick?
Bears, I think Foles it's his job now. They keep saying Trubisky will be back in the starting lineup next week. I don't think that happens. I think they want to see Foles. But the Packers are the best team in that division. It comes down to whether or not Minnesota can find some kind of way. We know that they have enough talent to be a playoff team, but I'm not sure. Detroit, as much as I love my team, I want to see them lose because I don't want Matt Patricia to be back.
I was going to say, I feel like they waste time by trying to continue to do what Matt Patricia, whatever that is trying to do. So get him out there, get somebody in there, and build around something new. Let's go to the NFC South, which is it's bunched up, but not in a good way. Buccaneers 2-1. A lot of folks said that was what's going to happen. Saints 1-2, Panthers 1-2, Falcons 0-3. Does it stay like that or what?
Are you excited about Tampa though?
No.
They escaped in week 2.
Yeah.
I mean, the Panthers should have beat them in week 2. If McCaffrey doesn't hurt his ankle, they do beat them, I believe. And then, this week, again, you look at them, Rob Gronkowski is a non-factor.
Rob said he was brought there to block, baby.
Yeah, that's why he weighs only 240 pounds. They put him in there to block. For real? You brought Rob Gronkowski out of retirement to block? Okay. That's what I would do is come out of retirement, get paid so I could block. Right. That's what guys who are physically beat up, who have broken backs, who have suffered major injuries throughout their career, say, I want to come back so I can block. Sure. Yeah.
Rob Gronkowski has never been known to be the sharpest tool in the box. All right. This is the division that you just either don't want to be in or you want to be in. The NFC West, Seahawks 3-0, Cardinals 2-1, Rams 2-1, 49ers 2-1. Good God. What happens there?
I think Arizona comes back to the pack. They can still have a winning season, but I think they come back to the pack because I think they've been surprising to start. That's Seattle's division to lose. Mm-hmm. I actually think San Francisco's better off without Garoppolo starting quarterback. I like Mullins? Yeah, I like Mullins better. The Garoppolo?
I'm being sensitive. Why there's a Nick Mullen in the NFL?
I'm just saying, compared to Garoppolo, the things Mullins can do. Mullins, every time he stepped in for Garoppolo, he's played well. Every time. So I think San Francisco's defense is not as good as it was last year. They've been hurt by injury.
You can't lose Bosa and just fill in that blank. I mean, if that was the case, they would have needed Bosa.
And I think we think the Rams still have holes as well. So to me, it's everybody's fighting for second. It's Seattle's division to lose.
David, real quick, tell everybody where they can find you and follow you, man.
At DM Grubb on Instagram and Twitter, the website hitpwithdg.com, and check out Hard in the Paint anywhere you get your podcast. And don't forget to go to Redbubble or hitpwithdg.com to check out the store. Cool stuff.
And guess what, y'all? We're gonna get in what's the next mark? 7,500, or when you hit
75 will be the next one. Yeah,
okay, all right, let's get
to even 5. So now, and I'm about 20 follows away from 3,000 on Twitter. So if we get over 3,000, yeah, that'd be cool too.
If you're not following them on Twitter, get her done. All right, y'all. David, thank you, brother, as always, man.
Talk to you Wednesday.
Hey, real quick, one of our lunch breakers, Annette, told me to give you a lot of love from last week. She said, man, let him know we are with him and for him. And she sent me that message, and I meant to tell you that. So
thank you. I appreciate that wholeheartedly.
Yes, sir, bro. We'll talk to you later, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. David Grubb. Let me get ready to wrap it up. Sybil Wilkes is up next with her coronavirus update. After that, it is none other than Donnie McClurkin. And the Donnie McClurkin Show gives you the best in gospel music, latest in the gospel music industry. Donnie does his thing every Monday through Friday from 2 to 3. And then, of course, tomorrow it'll be Team Texas Tuesday. We'll be back. We'll go into depth about the Houston Texans, the Dallas Cowboys, the Houston Astros, who literally backed their way into the playoffs. They play their first game tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And we'll do all that again tomorrow. Joe Montana and his wife saved their granddaughter from an intruder that tried to kidnap their infant granddaughter. They ended up scuffling with the 39-year-old female. The wife was able to grab the granddaughter and bring her to safety, and the woman has been arrested. So Joe Montana still being victorious. All right, y'all. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it but wear your mask, wash your hands, sanitize everything around you, be sensitive to everybody around you, and when you see the racism, kill it. Not the person, the racism. And remember, I'm not your enemy, all right? Y'all take care. We'll talk to you later.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know today about the coronavirus. 2 former leaders of a Massachusetts home for aging veterans have been charged in connection with the deaths of nearly 80 people infected with the coronavirus. The charges come 3 months after an independent report said the decisions made by administrators allowed the virus to spread. Leaders combined dementia patients into one space and allowed a resident who displayed symptoms to remain with 3 roommates and spend time in a common area. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.
I remember the legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe and 92.3 FM K222CX Houston. Are you ready?
All right, y'all. Man, I appreciate David Grubb as always because he's just so knowledgeable and a great guy. Y'all be sure and follow him on Twitter at DMG, at DMGrubb on Twitter. Let's get him up to 3,000 followers there. And get your friends and your families to follow him as well. Let's do for him what he does for us. He helps us out every week. So and again, y'all, man, be sensitive to people around there. There are folks that will jab and poke and try to mess with other folks and then try to point the finger at them like they're the problem. And now's not the time for that. Now is not the time for that. Now's the time to be sensitive. Now's the time not to be disrespectful. Now's the time to try and de-escalate rather than cause confusion. And, again, I'm telling you, I'm not letting people dictate my agenda. I know what I'm focused on. And folks want to come for me about everything under the sun. God bless you. Take care. Have a great day and all that other kind of stuff. But we don't have time for that. So as always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I truly do love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Y'all